That's the truth. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
I want to speak for a second about my 4 main platform plans. Most of you have heard this, but listen, it's still entertaining. Hydro, taxes, transit, and trash. And I really like that because it rolls off the tongue nice and easy. I've also mentioned we're going to be including a few things. We got criticized this week for not talking about housing, as if housing wasn't affected by hydro, taxes, transit, and trash. Well, you know what? We're going to include a housing platform. We're going to include a lot more discussion about seniors, because there's not enough focus on seniors, and this is an aging community. And we're going to talk about economic development. Specifically, what can be done to improve economic development here in the city. And this is something that hasn't had a lot of focus over the last 4 years, and it's something that's increasingly becoming a problem in Ottawa because we have a shrinking federal government. We have no other strategy from mayor and council other than to blame the government for not being larger. And the only access they have to an idea to make things better is to borrow and spend. This is not going to work. Let me take a couple seconds on hydro. I have 4 points to my hydro platform. I'm only going to mention one tonight. I want the same deal for Ottawa that Cornwall gets. I want to buy hydro from Quebec at half price. When I mention this, Mr. Watson goes bananas. He tells me, Mike, it's not that simple. You've got to go deal with the province. You can't just get an extension cord across the river.
It's already here.
And of course, but you know what? It is already there. There's already high tension lines across the river into Ottawa from Quebec Hydro. The only reason we don't have Quebec Hydro in Ottawa is because of the complete disinterest from our mayor and council to make sure you get hydro relief. I want to talk about taxes. I mentioned this earlier in the week. We've reached the limit. There's no more left to give. I keep saying that. I think it's the kind of thing, if we keep repeating it, it might sink in. There's no more left to give. When we start the budget process for the City of Ottawa, it can't be, oh, you know, it's going to be 2% a year. That doesn't mean anything. What it has to be is, an increase is unacceptable. Justify every penny you think you need. And I'll tell you right now, the waste I see, and I'm a keen student of the City of Ottawa budget, there's enough waste in this budget that there's no reason we can't see tax decreases. As you may imagine, I got lumped in with a previous candidate from 8 years ago who said zero means zero.
Uh-oh.
That's his sister right there. I'm not saying zero means zero. I'm not sure what that meant at the time, although it was a brilliant slogan. And I'm not making promises I can't keep. What I'm telling you is my commitment. My commitment is, based on years of study of the municipal budget, there is no reason we can't live within our means and avoid tax increases. Simple as that. Transit. Transit's a big issue right now. You're not riding on the Phase 1 LRT because it won't be ready for 4 more years. While that's being readied, you, in your name, Mayor and Council, took on $6 billion in obligations to make the Phase 1 LRT, and if Mr. Watson is re-elected, he wants to do Phase 2 LRT for $3 billion more. $9 billion bucks. Not a single car off the Queensway or the arterial roads. That means you're stuck in gridlock. You're looking at another generation stuck in gridlock. Yep. Not acceptable. Monday, we're rolling out our transit plan on Monday. I think you'll find this pretty entertaining. I'm doing something unique. We're going to reuse the railroads that are all throughout the city. Yeah. It's funny you mention that. There was a commuter rail service in Ottawa. Until 1962, there was a complete working commuter rail service in Ottawa. It worked great. I want to reestablish a commuter rail service in Ottawa. We're going to put trains back on the tracks. We're going to reutilize the rail rights of way. We can do it for 1/18 the cost. And instead of waiting for Phase 2 LRT to be ready in 2023, we can get people in Orleans, Canada, Riverside South, and Barrhaven onto a train out of their cars next year. Lastly, trash. We don't call it trash, we call it garbage in Canada. I just use trash because it rhymes. It's rash of me to use trash. There's two things that come up when we talk about garbage in Ottawa. First of all, I've been hearing this at the door nonstop since bi-weekly garbage pickup got introduced. The first thing I hear at the door when I knock, sometimes I don't even get to knock, they open the door, pick up my garbage. Pick up my garbage, you've got my vote, I'm busy. Okay, thanks. That happens a lot. We're going to reestablish weekly garbage pickup.
Thank God.
Secondly, we have a problem here in Ottawa. We have a landfill problem. We have a very expensive landfill at the Trail Road. It's coming to the end of its life. Landfills are extremely expensive. Just to make a new landfill for the city of Ottawa, if you could, would be over $300 million. I've been speaking to the people who are doing the engineering and the construction of the Durham Region High Efficiency Incinerator. They can put an incinerator here in Ottawa for $275 million. It will take 30 years of all of our residential garbage. It will return enough electricity to power 25,000 homes, and there will never be a new landfill in Ottawa. I want to close off here. I want to tell you what you can do. Now I'm going to echo some of the points Heather made. And this is the most obvious one. Go out and vote.
Oh, yeah.
You got to vote. You, your family, your friends, your neighbors, the dog catcher, everybody. The reality is the majority of people in Ottawa generally support a platform like mine. I mean more than 50%, I mean a high number. You know why they don't vote? They're not inspired. They don't feel any urge to vote because they don't see anything changing. In 2006, when your brother Larry ran, in 2006, Larry O'Brien inspired a group of people who never voted before. He had the highest vote turnout in the history of Ottawa. 148,000 people cast their ballots for Larry.
Yay.
That's our natural constituency. That's our natural constituency. That's over half of all of the ballots that will be cast in this next election are people who have voted before, voted against more tax, more borrow, more spend, voted because they saw a message they could identify with. We can get those people back into the polling booths, we can get their ballots, and we can win this not by a margin, we can win this by a landslide. Next, take a sign. As Heather was saying, take a sign, get your neighbors to take a sign. We've got what remains, and I've been watching them flow out the door. I can't believe it. I'm really delighted, believe me, but we've got to go back and order more now. And one last note, and this is kind of the heart and soul of politics. This isn't a bad job. Being a candidate, this is fun. And the election should be fun. This is all about democracy, and this is why Canada is the greatest country in the world. Because you could take somebody like me, who comes in out of nowhere, with a very marginal budget, and without much in the way of planning. We've got a lot of planning that went on, but it's not like the sophisticated campaign we're running against. But we're competitive right now. We're going to be a threat in a couple of weeks. Yeah. We're going to be winners in 4 weeks. Yeah. And that's really the end of my message. Stay hopeful, stay positive. This is the best thing in the world to be doing. It's great fun for me. I hope you're enjoying it. We're going to do something positive for the whole population of this town. We're going to send a message to all of the career hacks who inhabit our positions of power in government. And what a pleasure it is to see all of you today, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thank you.
I said, nice